Okay, so you've probably checked your daily horoscope,
Mm,
maybe even looked into your birth chart, right?
yeah.
That's the astrology most of us know.
hmm
But today, we're diving into something much older and really quite different. Mundane astrology.
That's right. This isn't about you or me or any single person's life.
Oh.
Mundane astrology, it just zooms way out. We're talking nations, leaders, huge global events. It's like astrology on the scale of history itself.
Yeah, astrology at the scale of history. I like that. Practitioners were trying to connect these, big celestial patterns with what was happening down here on Earth.
Exactly. Seeing it as this sort of cosmic story shaping civilization.
So our mission today is to really explore how this ancient practice worked. How did they try to link the heavens and the earth? It gives you this unique way, maybe a thought-provoking way, to look at history.
Definitely. It reveals a lot about that human drive to find meaning, maybe even predict the big shifts.
Okay, so let's nail down exactly what mundane astrology is. You sometimes hear it called political astrology or world astrology.
Right. And the name mundane itself, it's not about being boring. It comes straight from the Latin mundus.
Meaning world.
Precisely, which tells you everything about the scale. It's not asking about your career path.
No, it's asking things like, what do the planets say about the kingdom's fate right now? Or, is this a good time, astrologically, to found a city or sign this treaty? Big stuff.
It's a total shift in focus. Mundane astrologers weren't really looking at individual birth charts for this. They were casting charts for these major public moments.
Like a coronation.
Exactly, the precise moment of a coronation, or when a treaty was signed, or a revolution declared, even eclipses, major celestial events.
Oh.
And they calculated these charts, often with amazing precision for their time, and then interpreted them as these powerful omens, signs pointing to the future for a whole nation or empire.
It really changes how you think about historical decisions, doesn't it? The sky wasn't just background noise.
Not at all. It was seen as an active participant. It gave every big event this kind of cosmic weight.
And this goes way back. We're talking Mesopotamia, right? Centuries before personal horoscopes were really a thing.
Oh, absolutely. The very beginnings. Babylonian priests were key. Their stargazing wasn't just academic curiosity.
It is statecraft.
It really was. They studied eclipses, planet alignments, specifically to advise their kings. For instance, if Mars, the war planet, appeared really bright during an eclipse,
Bad news.
that was often read as a direct warning, impending war, major trouble for the kingdom.
And rulers listened.
They took it incredibly seriously. They genuinely believed their fate and their people's fate was, well, literally written in the stars. It shaped how they ruled, how they reacted to crises.
That belief system just spreading outwards.
Exactly. It laid the groundwork. The Babylonians' methods, their insights, were picked up and developed by the Persians, the Greeks, the Romans.
You see this continuity.
Yes, over millennia. It suggests this deep, persistent human need to find order, find meaning in the cosmos, especially when you're dealing with the chaos of ruling, of war, of just keeping society going.
And when you talk ancient roots, you have to mention Ptolemy.
Oh, absolutely. Claudius Ptolemy, 2nd century. His work was the foundation for Western astrology for ages.
And he wrote about this.
Extensively. He detailed how these big planetary cycles could affect whole nations. He famously linked those Jupiter-Saturn conjunctions.
The really slow ones.
Right, when those two giants line up. He linked those to the rise and fall of dynasties, to huge historical shifts. It shows how deeply these ideas were baked into understanding governance.
So it wasn't just ancient history. It really carried on, became deeply embedded in politics, especially Middle Ages, Renaissance.
It became indispensable. Monarchs across Europe, other parts of the world too, they didn't just have astrologers for show, they relied on them for critical decisions.
Like choosing a coronation date.
For sure. Finding the most auspicious date for a coronation, hoping for a stable reign, or getting advice on when to declare war, or maybe when not to. Even timing treaty negotiations. Astrologers were often right there in the royal court.
It sounds incredibly practical in its own way.
It was seen as a strategic advantage.
Think about Queen Elizabeth I and John Dee.
A classic example. Dee wasn't just doing her personal chart.
No, he was casting charts for voyages, for treaties.
For the actual fate of the kingdom, especially when invasion threatened. That reliance, right at the top, shows how much weight these readings carried.
And we should also mention the Islamic world's contribution here.
Definitely. Hugely important and sophisticated work. Scholars like Abu Mashar back in the 9th century, He did amazing analysis of planetary cycles, especially the grand conjunctions.
To understand empires rising and falling.
Exactly. Even the unfolding of religious eras. His work eventually got translated into Latin, massively influenced European astrology, and really cemented those ideas about historical cycles.
It's just remarkable, isn't it? Astrology wasn't some fringe thing. It was a day-to-day tool at the highest levels of power. Looking to the stars before a major state decision was just normal.
Standard operating procedure in many ways.
Now, within mundane astrology, eclipses must have been huge.
Oh, yeah. Lunar, solar. They weren't just interesting sights. They were seen as these powerful cosmic warnings.
Signals from the universe.
Pretty much. Needing immediate interpretation, often a quick response, kings would absolutely consult astrologers before big battles about recent or upcoming eclipses.
To see who had the cosmic edge.
That was the belief. Could it predict the outcome? A great example is the Battle of Gaugamela, 331 BCE, Alexander versus Darius of Persia.
Right.
There was a lunar eclipse just days before. Alexander's astrologers read it as Persia's downfall. Reports say it boosted troop morale.
And Alexander won decisively.
History tells us he did.
And it wasn't only eclipses. Comets, too. Those must have been terrifying.
Absolutely. Strange, bright, unpredictable visitors in the sky. They were tracked as omens, often linked to big disruptive events.
Like regime change.
Regime change, death of rulers, even natural disasters. Halley's Comet in 1066 is probably the most famous example.
Tied to the Norman conquest.
Famously so. It was seen right around that time, depicted in the Bayeux Tapestry even, as this major portent. A sign of dramatic change, the end of the Anglo-Saxon rule.
It speaks to that deep human need to connect those spectacular sky events with big earthly changes.
It does, and it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Even if you don't buy the direct causation, what was the psychological impact?
Right. Just the belief in these omens must have affected morale, strategy, how people reacted.
Immensely. It's a factor we perhaps underestimate today.
Now, you might think, okay, this is all fascinating ancient history, pre-science stuff, but mundane astrology, it didn't actually disappear, did it?
Not at all. Its overt influence definitely faded with the Enlightenment, scientific rationalism.
Sure.
But it endured. It's still practiced, maybe more quietly, but it's definitely still around.
How's that work now? They still cast charts for countries?
They do. The idea is that nations have a birth moment, just like a person. It can be tricky. Is it the Declaration of Independence? The Constitution? The first leader?
Lots of debate there, I imagine.
Oh, yes. Astrologers pick what they see as the key moment. The classic example, studied constantly, is the U.S. Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776.
So they use that chart.
They use that chart today to interpret American history, its patterns, its potential future.
And it's not just historical charts. They track current cycles, too.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Still tracking the major planetary movements, the slow outer planets, just like Ptolemy did. Looking for clues about global trends, big shifts coming up.
Any recent examples people talked about?
Well, a huge one was the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in January 2020.
Okay. What did that signify?
Saturn represents structure, limits, maybe karma. Pluto is about deep transformation, breakdown, rebirth, so that alignment. Mundane astrologers almost universally saw it as signaling a major global crisis.
Wow.
A time of profound restructuring, old systems breaking down to make way for new ones. And, well, 2020 certainly delivered unprecedented global challenges and forced a huge rethink of how society works.
Yeah, it certainly did. It gives you that contemporary example of how these ancient ideas are still applied. So, bringing this all together, what did this ancient practice suggest we consider when we look at the world today? The shifts, the crises.
It encourages a different perspective, doesn't it? A much older one.
Whether you believe the stars literally make things happen or not, mundane astrology gives us this powerful symbolic lens, maybe.
I think that's a great way to put it. It's more than just history. It helps us see that long human search for patterns, for meaning in the chaos.
Yeah.
It offers this framework, even if ancient, for thinking about those big cycles, rise and fall, conflict, renewal that we see over and over in history. It really reflects that fundamental human drive to connect the patterns of heaven, as they saw it, with the struggles of earth.
Trying to find some order in it all.
Exactly.
It really is proof of how people across millennia looked up for answers, for guidance, for just making sense of a turbulent world. It's not just a weird footnote. It's one of astrology's oldest traditions.
A tradition that guided emperors, shaped empires, and reflected, maybe even influenced, so many historical turning points.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is the bigger picture. It reminds us that whether it's through astrology or science or philosophy or religion, we're always searching for order, for meaning, for some kind of predictability in the flow of events.
It's just fundamentally human.
It really is.
Well, that brings us towards the end of our deep dive into mundane astrology. We've gone from Mesopotamia, through its influence in royal courts, right up to how it's still looked at today, always focused on nations, history, the big picture,
Not just individuals.
not just individuals. So maybe next time you hear about a major world event, some big geopolitical shift, just pause for a second. Remember that for centuries, countless people believed it wasn't only politics or human actions driving it. They believed the cosmos itself was playing a part, shaping our collective story. It was quite a thought to leave you with.
It certainly is.